Most organizations will tell you that they take employee well-being seriously. They've got a wellness app, they observe Mental Health Awareness Week, World Wellbeing Week. There may even be a fruit bowl in the kitchen. But the data actually shows only 1 in 4 employees feel that mental health and well-being is genuinely prioritized in their workplace. So the question isn't whether your company has a well-being policy. The question is whether your team actually feels it. And in my experience working with teams across the UK, those two things are very rarely the same. And in this video, I'm going to share 4 things that actually help to build a culture of well-being. But before we do that, there's a few things that you need to understand. Now, there's a difference between a well-being initiative and a well-being culture. Most companies have initiatives, very few have culture. An initiative is like a one-off workshop or a one-off webinar, and HR and people teams usually think this is going to fix the underlying issue. And while I support one-off workshops and webinars, in fact, I deliver them. If the culture is not right, then these sessions alone will not fix it. A wellbeing culture is embedded in how teams operate every single day. It's about how managers communicate, how workload gets discussed, how people are allowed to show up. It means that employees can say, I'm not okay, I'm stressed, I'm overloaded, without worrying about what that can do to their career. When I run sessions with leadership teams and ask them, does your team feel safe enough to speak up and tell you they're struggling? Most managers and leaders take a pause because they want to say yes, but they're not actually sure. And when a culture of well-being is embedded, people are comfortable to speak up about these issues. Now, companies can have all the well-being initiatives and policies in the world, but culture starts with managers. The biggest single factor in how an employee experiences their well-being at work is their direct manager. 2 people doing the exact same job at the exact same company can have 2 completely different experiences about their well-being because they have different managers. One manager creates safety, the other manager, even without realizing it, creates pressure and stress. But this is good news for most leaders and managers because it means that you don't have to wait for a company-wide initiative to embed a culture of well-being. You can start building a well-being culture in your team right now with the way you show up. So let's look at 4 things that actually help to build it. The teams that I work with that have the strongest well-being culture all have one thing in common: psychological safety. People feel safe to say that they're finding something difficult. They feel safe to speak up when they feel something's not quite right. And they feel safe to go to their managers and leaders if they have a problem. And as a leader and managers, the first thing that you can do to help embed a culture of well-being is give team members permission to struggle. And what I mean by that is nobody's perfect. We all struggle at times, even you. And you shouldn't be hiding that from your team. If you create a little bit of vulnerability, your team feel comfortable to be vulnerable with you too. If you never admit you find anything hard, your team won't either. Something as simple as saying, this has been a really tough week for me too. I've been really stressed out because of that company not paying their invoice on time or that project delay, whatever. Competent leaders who show a little bit of vulnerability from time to time help to build that culture of well-being, help to create that psychological safe environment for their team members, which then supports how they feel, ultimately improving their well-being. Now, the second thing that can actually help is something that most of us fall victim to. In most organizations and most industries, we're reactive. When something goes wrong, that's when we deal with it. But in all cases, prevention is always better than cure. We want to prevent issues before they happen, rather than trying to deal with them when they happen. And most teams and companies that don't have a culture of well-being only talk about it when something goes wrong. Someone signed off sick, a big argument happens, people are overworked or stressed. By this point, it's too late, and we're in damage control, trying to fix these issues rather than preventing them in the first place. So make well-being a regular part of the conversation. Maybe it's part of your weekly team meeting or your fortnightly team meeting. Hi everyone, tell me one thing you've done this week that has helped you to support your well-being. And then tell me one thing you're going to do over the next week that will continue to support your well-being. Making it a regular conversation helps to embed it as part of the culture. Now, the third thing is something that you need to lead by example with. Teams watch what leaders and managers do. If you're sending emails at 10 p.m., people may feel pressured to respond or reply at those times. They may feel pressured that they should be working long hours, especially during busy periods. If you skip your lunch break every day, people may feel obliged to also do that. So the third thing to support a culture of well-being is to protect boundaries. And you need to demonstrate that as a team leader or manager or whatever your role is. When you take your lunch break and go out for that lunchtime walk, it tells your team and the people in your organization it's okay to take your lunch break. In fact, it's essential that you take time away from your desk to go and refresh, get some nutritious food, and then come back with extra motivation to continue with the day. Now, the fourth thing that you can do to help support a culture of well-being is to see people for who they are. And what I mean by this is you're seeing people for them as an individual, not just the output and the performance that they do in their job role. A culture of well-being means people feel valued as humans, not just as performers. So people want to be recognized for the effort that they put out, not just the result that they achieve. When you acknowledge and support people continuously, it helps to create that culture of good well-being. One of the workshops I deliver for teams is a gratitude workshop, and it's so inspiring to see when teams express gratitude towards their company and each other. And these moments create a continuous bond between team members and leaders where they get the opportunity to express appreciation for one another. And it's always beautiful to see. And when leaders and managers show appreciation to their team members, it impacts their well-being in more ways than you realize. Now, the truth is, most managers understand this stuff. You probably have heard this before, but then something comes up, the week gets busy, and then you do nothing about it. Not because you don't care, because you don't necessarily have the structure or the tools to make this a continuous part of your team culture. And that's where I come in. I help workplaces and companies support their people for a range of workshops and sessions that help to build cultures of well-being, help to improve communication, performance, and ultimately create a supportive working environment. If that sounds like something you want to explore, and you have the budget and commitment to support your people, head to the first link in the description box and get in touch. But if you're not ready to take action yet, why not join the free mailing list? I send out free resources that help you create a supportive culture and help you support the well-being of your teams. That's also linked in the description box. And if you found this video useful, do me a favor and just press the like button. It helps more than you realize. Now, sometimes it's not easy for team members to be vulnerable with you. It's not easy for you to create a psychologically safe work environment. And sometimes team members will hide the fact that they're stressed from you. And this definitely isn't creating a culture of well-being. And if you want to understand 3 reasons why your team may be hiding their stress from you, you need to watch this video here. But remember, a happy workforce is a productive workforce.